Hi guys, Rene here and welcome to the workshop. Today I want to talk about a few more upgrades and changes that I've done to my Tarmac SL8. And the first big one of them, a lot of people have been asking about on Instagram, is the handlebar. Now, until recently I've been using this Darimo Nexon drag, which has been part of my kind of lightweight project for this bike. And to be honest, I really like this bar. And there are a lot of opinions about it on the internet that it's not stiff enough and the quality is not great, etc. But to be honest, my experiences were kind of the opposite. So um, obviously the good thing about this bar is that you can specify it and really tune it to your needs regarding the layup, the sizing, the mounts, the cable routing, whatever you want, and also optically or visually with the finish. And yeah, I really wouldn't go about changing this bar unless I had a customer that needed this exact bar in a hurry, because with Darimo products it is not a quick thing. So because they're very customizable, it also means that they're made to order, and that takes 2 to 3 months in most cases, which, considering the custom nature, still isn't that bad. But yeah, it's not something you can just pick off the shelf. And another thing I was considering, or another reason because I was considering the change, is because this is the 130mm stem option, and it's the longest they make, unfortunately, or well, at the time of shooting this video at least. And on this bike I really felt that I could use a bit more reach in the front, and particularly in the aero position, with the, when riding on the hoods with parallel forearms, kind of the fastest position on a road bike. And that, and of course the pressure from the buyer of this bar, has led me to the Enve SES Probar. Now, I've been eyeing this before, but it wasn't really available last year when I was building this bike up. And as luck would have it, the European distributor for Enve just had one of each size basically in stock, including this rather extreme 37 by 140 bar. So I decided to go for it. Now, as I said in the beginning with this bike, when I had the two-piece Enve cockpit on there, so the regular SES handlebar and the Aero in-route stem, I really like those. And in fact, the Enve SES bar is possibly my favorite kind of off-the-shelf bar of any other option. I just really like the geometry of the hoods and also the drops. And also they have been really, well, they really preceded the age, because they've been offering a 35 centimeter wide bar at the hoods more than 5-6 years ago already. So yeah, that's all really advanced. And yeah, it's also a really stiff bar, so good for racing and good for a bike like this. So obviously when there was this option of having it as a one piece, it looks even better. And it's, well, I think this is the best possible solution for the Tarmac SL8 in terms of looks and integration and possibly aerodynamics as well. And of course it's that much neater because there is no stem clamp, so the bar is just really one piece. My criticism with the standard two-piece in-route stem was that it's actually maybe a bit too stiff, and I was a bit worried that this might be the same, but actually the opposite is the truth, because at least to my subjective opinion, it rides much better than the one piece. And that's possibly because, well, we got full length fibers running through, and it can just take out that road buzz slightly better, whilst being almost, well, or even stiffer as a two-piece option. So I'm really a big fan of this bar, and definitely don't regret the change, and particularly so because Having that extra reach meant that I could now creep ever so slightly forward with my saddle, and all this required also a slight increase in the saddle height, which is of course not a positive thing, but overall it allowed me to go a bit more to the front without reducing the reach, and it's just more comfortable in that aero position, which is exactly what I wanted to achieve. As for the width of the bar, this one is slightly wider than the Darimo, which was a 360 center to center at the hoods. This one is a 370, as I said above, or well earlier, which is slightly wider than the 350, which is offered as a two-piece bar. I don't know why they went for this increase in the width. I would have definitely been happier with the 350, but unfortunately that's not an option. But yeah, it doesn't really bother me in any way. So yeah, I'm just happy with it, and I think it's possibly the coolest looking bar that is available on the market right now, and that you can fit off the market to a bike like, well, this one in particular, or the Colnago V4RS, or there are some other options where you can fit the in-route system as well. Obviously, Enve's own road and gravel frames too, but for the Tarmac, it's just a really great option. Weight-wise, obviously this is not a weight-winning option, unlike the Darimo. It's almost twice the weight actually, coming in at sub 400 grams, while this is just barely over 200, so that's a significant difference there. But yeah, a lot more material means a lot more stiffness. Not that, I repeat, I would ever find this not stiff enough for my weight and my kind of sprint power. This was perfectly fine. And yeah, the Tarmac just isn't the stiffest bike anyway, again because of the lightweight, so that never was an issue. But yeah, it just feels nice to ride, and also yeah, drop geometry is much more preferred in my case. So that's the handlebar. Maybe if we could just take a few more angles from the top, just to show how clean it looks. Obviously, I didn't go very far with the bar tape, which, by the way, is still the very thin Silca Nastro piloted 1.8mm offering from Silca, and this usually is my bar tape of choice, and it suits, I think, this bar particularly well. And also now it is properly finished. The previous one on this bar was kind of rushed because I just wasn't sure if I would like this bar, so now I had the time to do it properly. Also, the sprint shifters still very much intact in my preferred spot here on the drops. And another feature I like about this, or well, generally all Enve bars, that you don't need a bar plug. They just have these rubber covers, which are, well, more aero because of the shaping, and yeah, there's nothing to lose or fall out, or you don't need to cut the bar tape in a specific way to finish it off nicely. One thing I'm not really a fan of is the fact that you need another type of proprietary mount for this kind of cockpit, which in this case is provided by K-Edge, and it doesn't come with the light mount for the bottom, but it has this K-Edge fitting standard, so you can fit one. But it does come at least with the two inserts for the Garmin, obviously, which now I'm using for this bike, and also the Wahoo, so the two most typical options. And the weird thing is actually that you have to adjust the angle of the mount, so it doesn't have a fixed position on the bar with bolt holes or threads. It's just kind of an opening in the carbon, and it then put a wedge inside where this mount clamps on, so you can actually have it crooked if you're not careful. So I was setting this up with the bike fitting laser that we're using, which was a bit finicky. And also, like on some earlier Enve bars, you have no markings on the drop, so again you need to measure out the lever position manually, which again was helped by my bike fitting tools. So that's definitely not something that's very consumer friendly, but if you have it installed by us, of course, then this will all be dealt with and adjusted to your desired position. Being a one-piece bar obviously prevents you from having a roll adjustment of your bars, but that's not really needed in this case because, yeah, I really like this shape and it's really comfortable for me anyways. And I adjusted my hoods so they're parallel with the ground basically, which usually is the most comfortable position with a slight inward tilt at the levers, nothing too extreme. This is just to bring down the effective width of the handlebar ever so slightly, so that the distance I have here between the hoods is 30 centimeters in total. So it's still relatively narrow and I can really make myself tucked in. So yeah, really great looking bar. One slight change I've done is I've replaced the standard bolts for black titanium ones so they don't kind of clash with the rest of this bike. Also, the white logos might not be to everyone's taste. I kind of like them, but they're painted on, so you can't just remove them easily. But yeah, it's called the SES Aero Pro. So usually, you know, for pro style products, you get these bold markings, so they're visible on the pro bikes because usually they're team sponsors, and that's also the case here. So overall, really happy with this change. Of course, with this bar, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, and that's price and wait times. So price, yeah, this bar is made at Enve's base in Ogden, Utah, so made in USA, and that shows in the price. It's double the price of the Darimo, coming in at around 1,500 euros, which is a bit steep, obviously, but on the other hand, it's a high-end handmade product, so that's kind of justified, and the performance definitely backs it up. What is frustrating though is the wait time, again for the exact same reason. It's made in small batches out there in Utah, and that means, well, these are first released in, I think, November 2024, and they just started shipping now to MV distributors and dealers, now being April 2025. So that's what is it? That's half a year basically. So yeah, that's not very quick at all. And I imagine by the time we are shooting this video, most of the sizes have been ordered up, as in I myself have ordered a few for clients for upcoming SL8 builds. So great bar if your budget allows, and if you can stand the wait time, if you're patient enough. But yeah, that's usually the case with all these high-end products. So this was the main change. I've also hinted on the slight position changes, which turned out to be very beneficial. So that's all the big things covered. But however, there are a few small kind of details that I just upgraded on this bike that I thought would be worth mentioning. So in the previous Colnago video, I already talked about the pedal upgrade that I'm planning, and that's fully underway at this point. I can already show you the coated parts. I was about to show you the DLC coated step plates for Wahoo pedals when my phone died. So this is a pair that we have made. So these are made out of titanium and then DLC coated for extra hardness and wear resistance. And we have also applied the same coating to some sets of pedals which are just being made. So this will be a future upgrade, not just for this bike, but for the other ones, and hopefully we can make it to a product. Also with a bearing upgrade kit to make these spin a little bit better. So that's one thing I wanted to show you, the progress in these. And on the back of the bike, you can notice that now I have a Framesandgear CNC machine direct mount derailleur hanger. 4 Shimano rear derailleurs, of course, and really this was more of a vanity thing that I wanted to put on this bike. As you may know, we sell Framesandgear products in the web shop, and they have some new stuff that I wanted to try, so this is one of them. Obviously the links to the other ones that I'm mentioning will be in the description. So yeah, the main thing I wanted to achieve with this is just to have some nice color pop in there that matches with the also quite colorful frame, which I think has been achieved. However, there has also been a side benefit because you see, it happens that previously what I had on was the standard derailleur hanger, also direct mount from Shimano, but that is kind of a forged thin plate, and this is more of a broader CNC machine design, and I have to think that it's quite a lot stiffer than that one, because the shifting certainly appears to be better. So this one is definitely highly recommended. Obviously, because of the machining process, it's also more expensive than the standard specialized one, but it performs better surely, and also looks better. It's available in many different colors. Probably this one will not fit all of the bikes, but yeah, it definitely suits this one, I think. So that's one slight detail. Then they also started making titanium bolts for the hanger itself, which saves, I don't know, maybe not much at all. Then we also have a titanium bolt like this one for the rear derailleur itself, as you can see etched into it here. I don't really know if this makes too much of a difference. Certainly it looks cool. I like cool titanium bolts throughout the bike, so we have them in the calipers and everywhere. And the standard one, I believe, is aluminum. I don't have it with me right now, and that produces a bit of wear on the outside edge quite often, so that can lead to a bit of play. This one, being hard material, should prevent that. But I think the most important and also the least visible of these upgrades is this one. So this again is a titanium brake pad retaining pin from Framesandgear, and actually I've been looking at a product like this for a long time now, and they haven't released it before. You see, the standard retaining pin in durace calipers uses a flat screwdriver as the head, and that's, I believe, really not something you want to have on a high-end bike or any other high-end product, particularly so with the durace caliper, because it's black anodized, and if you use a flat screwdriver, which you must, that can easily slip to either side as you are doing it in or undoing it, and that can scratch your caliper if you're not careful. And also, because the standard durace one is made of aluminum, it's also quite easy to round off, which ruins your caliper because it's really difficult to take out, and if you want to do it from the other side, then you can break it, and yeah, it's really just a mess. So this one, a lot more durable, and it uses a proper Torx head, so it's almost impossible to round off. And also, because the surface is a lot harder than the aluminum one, it doesn't wear as quickly, and I believe the friction is also slightly lower because the brake pad return seems to be a bit more frisky, which, yeah, there's no other explanation for that other than the surface being more slippery, which in this case helps. Obviously, I still have the amp pads in there for extra modulation and brake power, so quite a few tiny upgrades, and they really elevate, I think, the experience with this bike. So yeah, really happy with the upgrades. Actually, I'm really happy with how the complete bike itself turned out. I honestly can't really think of too many ways to make it better, so it will be a challenge to improve on. at this point. The SL8 definitely is a really excellent bike, and it's really popular. It seems to be everywhere now, to be honest. That's probably the only thing wrong with it. But actually I have one more bike project that is not like that at all, so I don't know if it will be as pleasant to ride. Possibly yes, and certainly will be a bit more exclusive. So if you're interested in that, then of course stay tuned for future videos. That's all about this one for now, I think. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Wow.